Oh, let's see here. Oh, all right, you guys, here we are. I'm honored to be alive today. There was I don't know if you guys ever heard this guy called Rap the News. You guys ever watch YouTube? And you got some Hebrew teachers on there, biblical teachers, and I don't know how old he was, but at any rate, he put out a lot of videos called Rap the News, and he used to warn people about different things, his perspective on things. And he just had COVID, and his whole house got COVID, and I think he just died yesterday. And he's a pretty well-known guy, in the YouTube world. And we wanted to send our condolences to his family. Those of you who are on YouTube and are watching right now, he's going to be greatly missed. One thing that I must say about him, I didn't agree with a lot of his teachings in terms of he didn't understand certain things, but that's okay. We're all learning. So none of us are exalted over the other, because it's not our words, it's the Creator's words. But one thing that I did agree with him on, or a few things. But one of them that really stuck out to me was that he understood that there is no other. There's only one Elohim. He didn't believe in and subscribe to the idea of a man being Elohim, and I think that's crucial for us to understand. If you and I believe that the Creator became a human being, then that means that we can negotiate. we can negotiate with him, and he doesn't, and he could be like us. He could become weak. He can become sick. He can become, someone can kill him and put him in and bring death upon him. He could get hungry and weary. And we know that our Creator doesn't get hungry. We know that our Creator doesn't get tired. We know that our Creator doesn't experience those things because he's the Almighty, as we've been talking about for these last couple of Torah portions, that the Holy One of Israel, he's the King of the universe, you guys. So I greatly are going to miss Raptor News, and I send my condolences to his family, his wife, and his children. Anyway, we open this Torah blessing up with and Berekut et Yahweh de Ham Barak, Allah Alam Wayed, de Baruch Yahweh, the Ham Barak Allah Alam Wayed, de Baruch Atah Yahweh, de Elohenu, the Malek Alam, de Yarisheret, de Bakar Banu, de Mikol, de Hamamayim, de Nathan Lanu, de Atha Torah, the Baruch Atah Yahweh, the Noten HaTorah, Baruch Atah Yahweh, Elohenu, the Melech Halam, Asher Natan Lanu, the Torah, the Dimete Wakaye, the Betokinu, the Baruch Atah Yahweh, the Noten HaTorah. What is that to say? Again, we bless Yahweh. He's the blessed one, and he's the blessed one for all eternity. We bless Yahweh. We bless him because he is our Elohim. He's the King of the universe, and who has selected us from all the peoples on the face of this earth to be his people. And we thank him and we praise him for giving us the Torah. We bless him because he is our Elohim. He's the King of the universe. And we thank him for giving us the Torah of truth and implanting eternal life within us. We thank him for giving us the Torah. We praise the Holy One of Israel. He is the Elohim of Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov, which are our fathers. I know a lot of people claim that they're his God, but there's a clear, distinct difference between the God of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov and the God of the New Testament and the God of the nations. As I've showed you several times in several different places, that the only people that know the Creator are the children of Israel. No one else knows him. No one. And he has documented this. He has said this on plenty of occasions, that no one knows him except for the children of Israel. And that's in Amos, Amos, chapter number 3, verses 1, 2, and 3. You can find it right there. You can find it in Psalms 147, verse number 19. You can find it all over the place. And he says, I don't know of anybody else. No one has ever heard his voice except for the children of Israel. That's it. And that's why he calls us his witnesses, because we're the only people that have ever heard his voice. You say, well, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I didn't hear his voice. So how can you hold me accountable for something I didn't hear? I got some interesting information to tell you that the Holy One of Israel says, Moshe says, this is for those who are standing here or those who are not standing here today. So because you're born in this family, okay, you have to participate in everything that goes along with the family. So it doesn't matter whether or not you think you're righteous or or you're not so bad of a person. If you're born into this family, okay, you're destined for the promises. Okay, you're destined for him to be your Elohim. That was the deal. See, we're not talking religion. Okay, I'm not going to give you an image. Okay, let me explain what religion is. I'm not going to give you an image with a story. Okay, that's why you have cartoons. So you draw out an image. Check this out. You draw an image out. And these are the people that in the Old Testament, in the book of Exodus, where Pharaoh had called out these in particular people called magicians. Okay, their real name is called a cartoon. Sounds like cartoons. Okay, and what they would do is take a stylus like what's in my hand, and they would draw images, and then they would give a story, and the image will come to life. Okay, so that's what it. So literally, Christianity and all other religions are nothing but cartoons. You draw something out and it becomes real, like Bugs Bunny, okay, or Power Rangers, or whatever else you want to draw. But if you don't have an image, then you don't have a story. You understand? So this is the reason why they create images, and so you can have a story. So what the creator of the heavens and earth is to say that I don't want you to make any images of anything, because if you make an image, then you got to put a story with it. Okay. And if you put an image, you got to write out a whole another narrative, which is called a meta narrative. META narrative. Go look at what that means. That's what the New Testament it is. It is a new additional story. Okay. Yah has given us his story. Okay. Let me put this up here right quick so it can make sense to us. Okay. The creator has given us his story. And what is his story? History. That's what he's given us. He's given us the history of our people. He said, you know what? I know that human beings are going to learn through what? Through words and letters. In speech. And so, this is what we learn through. Is the things that we learn. And we learn through hearing. We use our ears. Okay. We look at things with our eyes. You understand? We get experience through the things that we touch with your hands. So all your five senses are used in order to communicate. The creator has chosen. You say, why does this guy keep laughing? Because it's just coming to me. Words, letters, and speech to talk to us. He knows the only way with the children of Israel, when they went out of Mitzrayim, they went to Mount Sinai, which is Yahweh's mountain, and they heard his words. And they became afraid. They said, we don't want to hear them anymore. You go learn what they are. You come and you tell us. Tell us what he said. Okay. What he says. Okay. And somebody finish it. Tell us what he says and we will what? Everything he said, we'll what?
Do it.
We'll do it. All right. That's the deal. So when we're taught this, the Hebrew, and we're taught about his words, every part of this Torah portion has to do with a man named Paro. Okay, that's how his real name is. Okay. And you're talking about what happened with him. Somebody tell me about Paro, what you know about him from your Torah portion. What did you learn about Paro?
He's stubborn.
He was stubborn. Oh my goodness. Occulty Pam, you just nailed it. The man, Yah says that this man is stubborn. Okay, I want you to hear what he said. He's stubborn. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
What do you see? Did you see it says 1435?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna get out of here right quick. I'm gonna lower this. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna give a new share. I'm gonna stop this. So remember stubborn. Everybody remember that particular word that Occulty Pam had just said. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and where's it at? Okay, so I'll get out of here. Pull that up and then I'm gonna share. Okay. Occulty Pam says stubborn. Ding, 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 ding. She's 100% correct. Can you see my screen now? Yes?
Yes.
All right. So this word right here is called kashak. Okay. And it means the action of is to gather, and the concrete of is a stalk. Okay. So the picture graph is this little symbol here, which is a picture of the sun at horizon and the gathering of light. That's what it means. When you see a sun, it means the gathering of light at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day. It gathers light in order to shine or to diminish at the end of the day. And so the letter here represents this image right here, which is a shin, sh. Okay, so it's ka, qua. Okay, this right here, and shak. Okay, a picture of the two teeth representing pressure, bringing together and pressed. Once again, once the grain stalks are harvested from the field, it is gathered into bundles and secured with a cord in the middle. Okay, I've already shown you an image of this before where they'll take some grain and they'll bind it real tight. Okay, and so that's where you get your word stalk or stubble. Okay. And I want to tell you that the word for stalk has several different meanings, like, a branch or a chaff, everything that has to do with it, right? So 251, here's 252, 252 here. It can be a cucumber, snare, trapping, chaff gather. There was a word that it was used for. Oh, there you go. I missed it. Right here. It's the same word that they use for a bow. Like, when you got to shoot a bow, it's the stiffness of the branch that causes the bow to be, real tight. So you can use it, right? So this is talking about stiffness. So, but also here, kashi means stubbornness. Okay. So this is what Pharaoh was like. He was a stubborn man, very stubborn. Who else is stubborn?
Israel.
Israel. Yah's people have a stiff neck. They're like a stalk. They're a stalk. The stalk is the part of the sheaf that once it's cut down, it's the stalk. It's the hardest part of the grass. And that's what he has to be bound in. And they could take that and burn it and make soap into it and all kind of stuff. Okay. But the stalk means that it's inflexible. There's really nothing you could do with it but burn it. You understand? So this in particular person that Yah has introduced us to in the book of Shemot is dealing with a hardness and a stiffness, a stiff-necked person, a very stubborn person. And he kept, every time Yah would say something to him, he would say, okay, I'm I'll do it. And then he turned around and wouldn't do it. Every time. Moshe would go and Yah said, tell him what I said. He'd tell him what he said. And then he refused to do what Yahweh says. And then his heart would harden. He was his mind would go stiffness. He would even put a tighter grip. He'd become so hard that he didn't want to change. And that's what Yah's trying to bring out in this Torah portion, is that Yah is talking all the time and nobody's listening. No one's listening to what Yahweh says. And that's where the problem is. Okay. I'm gonna get right to it. Let me see here. Let me get right to this, because we only have a certain amount of time today. And I want to honor your time with the Holy One of Israel. So let's get right into it. Let me see. Praise be to the Holy One. I should have had, forgive me, guys. I should have had this in particular Bible version up. I didn't have it up yet. All right. So get your pen and paper, because we're about to get started here on this. All right. So if you read your Torah portion, you know that Yah is coming to introduce himself to the children of Israel and also to Pharaoh. I only want to read chapter number 9. Okay. That's all I want to read out of this chapter. Okay. Or out of this book right now, because we got somewhere else to go. So it says, Yahweh said to Moshe, go to Pharaoh and tell him that here's what Yahweh, the Elohim of the Hebrew, says. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So he's the Elohim of the Hebrews. I want you to listen how many times he says something, what he says. Yahweh, what Yahweh says. He says, not let my people go. He tells them, send my people away. To do what? To worship me. I'm reading fast, so we won't take a bunch of time. If you refuse to send them away and persist on holding on to them, the hand of Yahweh is going to be on your livestock in the field, the horses, the donkeys, the camels, the cattle, the flocks, and will make them suffer a devastating illness. Okay. But Yahweh will distinguish between Egypt and Israel's livestock. Nothing belonging to the people of Israel will die. Yahweh determined the exact time by saying, tomorrow, Yahweh will do this in the land. Okay. How does he do it? Because Yahweh, by saying, anytime Yahweh does something, he will do it. The following day, Yahweh did it. The livestock of Egypt died, but not one of the animals belonging to the people of Israel died. And so Pharaoh investigated, okay, and found that not even one of the animals of the people of Israel had died. Nevertheless, Pharaoh's heart remained stubborn. Koti Pam has said it, and this is not the only place. This is like the third or fourth time the Yah had said that his heart remained stubborn. Chapters number 7, 8, and 9 are dealing with how this man refuses to listen to what Yahweh says. And he didn't send the people away, not let them go. Yah's not asking to let them go. He's asking Pharaoh to shalak. That means send away, and not just send away, force them out. The children of Israel did not want to leave Egypt. I want you to hear what I'm telling you. They did not want to leave. They did not want to leave. When they got out, they were complaining, we should go back. We were there. We used to sit around our food and have this and have this and have that. It wasn't as bad. They didn't want to go out. They wanted to stay exactly where they are. That's why Yah is telling this man to send them. Force them, not let them go. Send them out forcefully, force them. Moshe said, and Yahweh said in verse number 8, Moshe and Aaron, take handfuls of ashes in the kiln and throw them in the air before Pharaoh's eyes. They will turn into fine dust over all the land of Israel and become infected sores on men and animals throughout Egypt. So what happened? So they took the ashes from the can, they obeyed, and they stood in front of Pharaoh and they threw the ashes, they threw them in the air, and they became infected sores on men and animals. The magicians, the Khartoume, they couldn't do this. They couldn't even stand in Moshe's presence because of the sores which were on them, as well as the other Egyptians. It was terrible. But Yahweh made Pharaoh hard-hearted. There's some question. Well, why is Yah doing this? Because Yah can do whatever he wants to do. Some people have a problem with Yah hardening the hearts of some men in order to bring about the purpose. If Yah knows a person is stubborn, there's times in this Torah portion that says that Pharaoh hardened his own heart. And then it says Yahweh hardened his heart. So which one? Both. Yah does not have a problem hardening somebody's heart. Yah does not have a problem with making someone stubborn. If that's what it's going to take for you to understand about what I'm saying, I will harden your heart against what I'm saying in order to prove to you who I am. Because this whole thing is about proving who he's Elohim, Yahweh. That's his name. Remember, Pharaoh said, who is Yahweh of the Hebrews that I should even listen to him? That was the question. And that's been the question not only for him, but for the whole world and for Yisrael. The same identical problem. Who is Yahweh that I should listen to him? Akika David, you're telling me I should listen to the Elohim of the Hebrews. You go to your family, you're telling your family something they won't listen to you because they're hard-hearted. Why? Because Yah has made them hard-hearted. Because that's the heart that they have. They want to be hard-hearted. Everybody's not going to be soft and understanding and welcoming of Yah and amicable. They're not going to be like, hey, I want to learn. Some people need to be forced to do what Yah says. You understand? He knows that this man, he knows what he's made of. He knows it. That's why he gives us the title, the man who speaks evil, the one who thinks that the land of Egypt belongs to him. He thinks the Nile River belongs to him. He thinks the creatures of the Nile belong to him. He thinks the land belongs to him. He thinks the sky belongs to him. This man actually thought he was a man God. And Yah had to keep reminding him that I'm the only one who owns everything. Let's continue to read. But Yahweh made Pharaoh's hard-hearted so that he didn't listen to them. Just as Yahweh has said to Moshe, 13, Yahweh said to Moshe, get up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh and say to him, here is what Yahweh says. This is what Yahweh says. He says the same thing over again. Let my people go. Wrong. Send my people out so that they can worship me. Second time. For this time, I will inflict my plagues on you, yourself, your officials, and your people, so that you will realize that I am without an equal in all the earth. There is no one else but Yahweh. That's the whole reason for this story. Is to let them know in Mitzrayim, to let Israel know, to let Moshe know, to let Aharon know, to let everybody, the surrounding nations know, and to let you and I know. There is no one who's equal with Yahweh. Period. There's no one. There's no one who could do what he does. There's no one. Yes, he might give a man his strength and his power, say, hey, take this rod and go hit the river and it turn into blood. But it's based on Yahweh's power. There's no one who can save out of Yahweh's hand. There's no one. There's no one who created this day except for Yahweh. That's why you're keeping the Shabbat. There's no one who made you, who gave you vision, a nose, a mouth, and ears, and a touch, except for Yahweh. Yahweh has given everything. It's nobody. There is no equal to him in all the earth. In the moment that we start understanding this, then the better off we're going to be. So because of this, he says, but now listen, by now I could have stretched out my hand and struck you. God's talking to him, to Pharaoh, and your people with such severe plagues that you would have been wiped off the earth. I could have killed every last one of you by now. I could have wiped you off the earth by now because I don't have any equal. So he's letting them know, you want to play games with me? I'm letting you know who I am. This is war. And guess what the war is? The war is a battle between our will and his will. That's what the will is. It's always a will. There's always a desire. There's always a purpose. And it's always going to be about what does he want us to do. Yah's letting this man know, the most powerful man at that time in the world, one of the wealthiest countries in the world, I'm going to let you know that I'm in charge. And I'm going to let my people know that I will put anybody down, including the ones who have you in bondage that you couldn't put down. I put them down. But it's always going to be a battle between what I said and what somebody else says. But the reality is that all of us are in the same war with Yah. Just like this stubborn, evil man right here. What do you mean, Akika? What are you talking about? I'm not at war with him. Yes, we are. We're at war with him because we are trying to figure out whether or not we're going to do what we want to do or what he says. A lot of us will just say, well, I'm doing what he says. I'm not, but yet I don't listen to Paul and Peter New Testament any longer. So I'm good. I'm with him now. We're partnered up. He's saying, no. Your problem has not been the people only around you. Your problem has been you. You're the problem. This story is not just to put the focus on Pharaoh. The focus is to put the focus on us because we're the ones with the stubborn hearts. And he said it. You guys are a stiff-necked people. You're hard-hearted. You won't listen to what I'm saying. Ultimately, the war that we have is a battle of the wills between our will and his will. That's what the battle is. Are we going to continue to build our own lives and have our own plans and our own aspirations? Or are we just going to go follow what he says? Well, we don't know what his will is for us. We don't know. So we go keep doing what we do until he shows us. And he says, okay, that's fine. Because at the end of the day, I will show you who I am. Because what can you and I do for Yah right now? What is it that you and I really, I mean, if we want to be honest, what is it that you and I can really do for him right now? Can we really serve Yah in the capacity that he asks us to serve him right now? No. We're not serving Yah right now. We're under the authority of a whole nother people. We're under the authority of a whole nother institution. We got the government on us. We got the community on us. We got the state and local government on us. We got the taxes on us. We got the federal on us. We got the CDC on us. We got everybody on us. These people are running our lives. You got the USDA running our lives and telling us what's clean and what's unclean. You got the FCC that's running our lives and tell you what you can communicate and what you can't communicate. You guys really think you're free? You're not free. You understand? We need to understand that this story, this whole week has been about this man and his stubbornness, about not listening to the Holy One of Israel. But he said, look, I could have wiped you off the face of the earth. Then he goes on and he tells them what he's going to do. You guys know the story. You already know the story. But one of the things that we don't know is what I'm going to show you today. Let me show you what Yah says. It's about his will. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
It says Yhwh. There's a V right there, but it really should be a Wah. And that Wah right there means and. Okay. Yhwh. I appeared. That's what this word means. This is the name of our Torah portion this week. I appeared. Why did he appear? Why did the creators let us know he appeared? Well, here it is. Put this right here. This particular Torah portion, chapter number 6, verses chapter 6 through chapter 9. Those are the 3 chapters that we had to read. Okay. Chapter number 7 talks about Aaron's staff, that, you know, he did the blood, the warnings of the frogs, the lice, the animals, all different types of things that Yah did, and told this man, if you listen to me, send my people out so they can serve me. He wouldn't listen. So Yah makes 7 declarations. Okay. 7. He makes 7 of them. And I'm going to tell you what those 7 declarations are. Okay. You want to write this down because it has to do with I will. I will are the 7 declarations. He's going to tell you 7 things that he declares. Okay. And these, and you know, often you guys, we just say, well, Yahweh said, Yahweh said, Yahweh said. And we think that he just said, and that's it. And once it's said, okay, he said it. So what? But you don't understand that Yahweh said a lot of things. Yahweh said, let there be light. And there was light. Yahweh said, let the lights be in the heavens on the 4th day. Yahweh said to the sea, don't go past a certain part. So when Yah speaks, it's not on accident. It has substance. It's very strong. And that's the problem that Israel and the human beings have, is that we don't really take him at his word, and we don't know how serious this is. And a lot of people don't want to take this serious because they're afraid that they're going to lose you. You know, here it is. What does 7 represent in the Hebrew scriptures? Well, the action of it is to what? To swear something. You're going to swear. I'm going to swear an oath. Okay. I'm going to swear something. And it's an oath. Literally, you're going to 7 yourself. Okay. I mean, I'm going to do something 7 times, like what the Abraham did when he went to the place called Beersheba. This is called the well of the oath, or the well of 7, because he brought 7 lambs. Okay. So you'll do something 7 things, or you'll say something 7 times. Okay. In order to make a declaration. So because Yahweh says something 7 times, he makes a declaration. He's actually swearing, and he's making an oath. He's literally lifting his hand. You know how when you want to go to court, they tell you raise your right hand and swear? That's what he's done. In the book of Ezekiel, Yah raised his hand several times. Okay. So every time Yahweh says something, he swears by his power. Okay. So his hand represents his power. It's by his power. He does it 7 times. Literally. So the declaration means to swear, and it means 7 times, something done 7 times. The first thing he said in Hebrew is this word called Rishon. Rishon is called the first. This is the first declaration that he says. This is the first thing he said. And this is in chapter number 6. And I believe it's going to be in verse number 4. Is it 4? I mean, I want to free you from your labor. Okay. Looking here at my text right quick. No, it's number 6. Yeah, 6:6. Exodus 6:6. I want you to write that down so you can. Exodus 6:6. Exo 6:6. That's where it begins. There's 7 of them. Okay. When you read these things, you just kind of fly by them. But Yah says, I don't want you to fly by. I want you to really hear what I'm saying. I will. Okay. I will is part of Yah's name. Okay. Remember, Moshe said, well, when I go to the children of Israel, what should I tell them? Who sent me? And he said, Yhwh. Asher. Yhwh. Okay. And that means I will be, or I am. Okay. But that's not his name. That's the function of his name. His name is Yhwh. Okay. Means he exists, or he will be, or he will become. Okay, that's it. That's what his name means. Okay, so listen to the things I'm going to tell you the 7 declarations that he had. The first one is, I will bring you out from under the burdens of Mitzrayim. That is his oath. That's his promise. That's his declaration. And that word right there is Wah Hotzi. Wahotse thee. Okay. Wahotse thee. Bring means hotse, to make you come out. Okay. This whole right here means cause. And it say right here means to go out. Okay. And the T right here is I. I will cause you to go out. Okay. However, what's interesting about this word is when it's in the Hebrew, when he says it, is that is not only that it's called in its present tense. Okay, excuse me. It's in its past tense. Okay. So when he says, I will bring you out from the burdens of Mizraim, it sounds like it's something he's going to do. But Yah has already said in his way that he said it perfectly as he's already done it. Because the grammar tells us that I'm going to cause you. I've already caused you to come out. Okay. I've already done this. I've already done this. Even though I'm telling you, I will bring you out. I told you perfectly that I have already done it. And Yah, when Yah speaks, we better hear what he's saying. When Yah speaks, Yah's not asking for anybody's permission to say anything. Yah's not waiting for anybody else to help him to do what he wants to do for us. If it's already done, it's done. If he told Abraham, I'm going to give you this land, he's already made up his mind to give it to him. If he told them, I'm going to bring you out, and he says perfectly that you already been brought out, in his mind, in his person, it's already done. But when you and I are in anticipation, I will. So we think that he's going to do this later. He's already done it. Well, how does that work for us today? Why are you reading this to this? I mean, what are you trying to get us to see? Yah's trying to get us to understand that if he causes something, okay. So for example, we're still in our exile, right? Yah can bring you and I out of our exile. In first place that he's going to bring us out is in our mind. That's the first place I'm going to get you. I'm always going to work with this first. And then I'm going to do the following, which is the body. I got to get what they call your heart first. Heart in Hebrew means your mind. I got to get your mind first. Okay. But if I already told you that I'm going to do something, it's already as it's done. It's just a matter of it giving time for it to come to pass. You understand? So for us, we're used to saying, well, it ain't been done yet, so it ain't happened. So a lot of us think that, we're still in exile, but mentally, Yah has already decided that you guys are not in exile, those who follow me. You're already gone. You're already with me. I already got you. Because you made a decision. Okay. So this is in the perfect tense. So it's not something he's going to do, it's something he's already done. Okay. So like I said, Yatzah means to come out. Okay. The question was, did Israel want to come out? And I gave an answer, absolutely no. Israel never didn't want to leave out of the land of Israel. Out of Mizraim. They didn't want to leave. They didn't want to go. And I'm going to prove it to you. Chapter number 6, verse number 9 says, Moshe said this to the people of Israel, but they what? They wouldn't listen to him. Because they were so discouraged and their slavery was so cruel. Israel has a listening problem. Moshe came to them and he started speaking to them with the words of Yhwh. Just like how you and I go to our family members and we start telling them this is what Yahweh said through Moshe, and they say, I don't want to hear it. They won't listen to it. Why are they not listening? Because they're discouraged. And also too, because what they're going through is very cruel and, they're oppressed and they're like, I don't want to hear it. That's what I was told. When I brought this to my family, I don't want to hear it. They were very short with me. Okay. But the question is why aren't they listening? Why aren't Israel listening? The sons and daughters of Israel, why aren't they listening? The answer to that is because Yahweh is going to give us a testimony and tell us why. In a study here, you're going to see this in particular phrase that I'm going to use all the time, which is the testimony of Yahweh. And this is the message that he gives to those who are out from the land. Okay. And you and I are currently exiles, aren't we not? Watch this. Ezekiel chapter 2, verse number 3-5 says this. He said, human being, meaning Adam, B'nai Adam, son of man, I'm sending you to the people of Israel, that nation of rebels who have rebelled against me. They and their ancestors have been transgressing against me to this very day because they're defiant. So you're going to see a lot of the same attributes and same type of mindset of Pharaoh as the children of Israel had. They're defiant and they're hard-hearted. Where did they get it from? They got it from Mizraim. Okay. I'm sending you, and you are to tell them, this is what you're supposed to tell everybody, because he's saying human being. Are you not a human being? Why did he use Ezekiel's name? He's telling you human being, meaning son of man, son of Adam. You're a son of Adam. I'm a son of Adam. They're defiant and they're hard-hearted. They're children. I'm sending you, and you are to tell them, here is what Yahweh Elohim says. That is the message. And everyone refuses to hear this message. He didn't listen to what I'm telling you folks today. This is what he told him to go tell them. Go tell them this. Quotation. Here is what Yahweh Elohim says. Period. That's the only thing you and I are supposed to tell the people of Israel. You don't supposed to tell them what you think. You don't supposed to tell them how you feel. You're not supposed to tell them about no history. You're not supposed to tell them about nothing except for what he said. He didn't say go tell them about the Atlantic slave trade. He didn't tell them to go tell them how bad you were treated. He told them you need to go tell them what I said. It's only what Yahweh says that can break a man's heart and break his mind so he can start listening. Don't go talk to your friends and your family and your girlfriend or your wife or anybody else about nothing except for about what Yahweh says. Everything else is a waste of time. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. That's why you need to read the Torah portion. So when you find words that says, thus saith Yahweh, the word of Yahweh came to me. Yahweh says. Israel doesn't listen to Yahweh. They don't listen to his words. His words is the Torah. I need you to hear me. I'll read it again. Moshe went to the people of Israel, but they wouldn't listen to him. Why? Because they're defiant, they're hard-hearted, they're discouraged. He doesn't care about them being discouraged. He doesn't care about how difficult our slavery is. He doesn't care about any of those things. Because he can switch those things anytime he wants. He can fix your life. He doesn't care about what someone's going to think when you tell them this. He tells you, I don't care. Whether they listen or not, this rebellious house will still know that a prophet has been among them, because that's what a prophet's supposed to do. A prophet is somebody who's supposed to go tell the people of Israel, thus saith Yahweh. This is what Yahweh says. When Moshe and Aharon went to Pharaoh, they didn't tell him what they believed. They told him, this is what Yahweh says. What and how is rebellion defined? Rebellion is called marad. Marad. M-A-R-A-D. Marad. Marad. It's a verb. Marad. Marad. To rebel. Okay. He did say that they're stiff-necked and they're rebellious people, and he's talking to people in exile. Rebellion. And it comes from this idea of bitterness. That's where you get your word murder. You see the M and you see the R. And you see the D right here. Here's the M. Here's the R in English, and here's the D. Here's the M, here's the D, and here's the R. Here's the M, here's the R, here's the D and the R. Bitterness. Mar. That is the root. The mem and the resh, these two letters right here, says that this has to do with bitterness. It means to be weak. The letter mem represents water. The resh means head, the head of waters. Okay. The head of waters, meaning a marine or a marsh. You can see the mem and the resh here again. Mem and the resh again. The head of the waters of a river are only a trickle. Okay. The headwaters of a river are only a trickle and have a stagnant pools. I mean, they're not flowing, causing the water to be bitter. Something that is bitter of taste or attitude. Rebellion is one with a bitter attitude. They are very short. They don't want to hear anything you got to say. And where we are causes this. In our lives, in our relationships, we get very bitter when things are not going the way that we want. When we're stagnant, because if you look at the idea of the bitterness, it comes from a stagnant pool of waters. There's no movement. There's no advancement. There's no flow. If you get sick in your body, your blood stops flowing. You're gonna get sick. There's rivers of blood going through your body right now. And when that blood stops flowing, my mother had congestive heart failure. Her blood stopped flowing. Her heart rate was like percentage is like 18%. She couldn't, flow was going down. So it made her sick, stagnant. And she got weak because of it. You understand? And she died. Idea here is when we become stagnant and we're not moving and we're just trickling, there's a trickle of drips and drips and drips of Torah, just little drips. There's no flow of Yah's words because his word is like water. It's flowing. But when you just got stagnant, you're very stagnant and it's not flowing properly, you become bitter. And then you become weak. Then you become bitter. You're mad. You got a nasty attitude because things ain't working out for you. You see, this is who these people are. Israel rebelled. Did they rebel in Mizraim? A lot of people don't think so, but they did. Here's the testimony of Yahweh. Write it down, Ezekiel 20, verse 7 through 9. I told them, each of you is to throw away the detestable things that draw your eyes. Do not defile yourselves with the idols of Mizraim. I am Yahweh Eloheka. We didn't hear that in Exodus. We didn't hear those things, but we did hear, if we read the Torah portion correctly, Yahweh commanded Moshe and Aaron to give commands to the children of Israel and to Paro. That's in chapter number 7. So they didn't go in there just talking to Paro. Yah sent them in there to talk to Israel as well and give them charges and give them commands. But they didn't do it. Just like today, he's talking to us. But guess what they did? They rebelled against me. Yah's talking. They rebelled against me and they wouldn't what? They wouldn't listen to me because they're rebels. They were bitter. They did, each of them, throw away their detestable things that drew their eyes, and they did not abandon the idols of Mizraim. Then I said, I will pour out my fury on them and spend my anger on them in the land of Mizraim. Because they're what? Because of their rebelliousness and because of their inability to listen. Attitude about what he said. Attitude. But for concern for my own reputation, which this right here has to do with the word called Shem, meaning my name. His name is his reputation. That's why we're in the book of called Shemot, which they call in Greek Exodus. Because my own name, my name, that's the only reason that kept me from letting it be profane in the sight of the nations, whom they were living, inside of whom I had made myself known, in order to what? Bring them out of the land. Again, here's our word, hotzithika. The first thing that he said, I'm going to bring you out. I made myself known. How? Through my name, through what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to let it be profane in the sight of these nations. In the eyes, the sight means in those who have eyes to see. This is not spiritual. This is completely physical. You see, pick up the ideas. Here's another testimony of Yahweh about how Israel's a rebellious people. Yhwh chapter 30, verse 9 says this, for this is a rebellious people. They are a lying children. They're not only rebellious children, they're lying children. They're children who refuse to hear the Torah of Yahweh. Did it not say in our Torah portion that Pharaoh refused to hear Yahweh? This is Yahweh's voice. It's the Torah. Those are his words. He said they're lying, they're rebellious, and they refuse. When you have a bitter attitude, you're going to be lying. You have this attitude, you're going to refuse to do what you're told. This is the problem. This is indicative of children. That's what Yah calls them. Rebellion, lying, and refusal. Why is it to say that they're lying? And why is it that it's a refusal? Why is he using saying that why they refuse? And how are they lying? I want to tell you how they're lying. They're lying because they're saying that they're doing what he says. They're lying. They're lying. That's how they're lying. They're lying because they're saying, well, we're doing everything he asked us to do. They're lying because they say, well, we kept the Shabbat. They lied. That's what he's talking about. They're lying and they refuse to do what he says because they're going to do it the way that they want to do it. So he says, listen, here's a testimony of Yahweh. In Isaiah chapters 58, verses 1 through 2. Shout aloud, don't hold back, raise your voice like a shofar. Proclaim to my people what rebels they are. Tell my people what rebels they are. To the house of Yaakov, their sins. Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing, or are we scared? Somebody tell me.
If you use these to remove earwax, get rid of them right now. There's even a warning on the.
I'm gonna play it. When you hear that sound of the shofar, it's supposed to grab someone's attention and let them know this is a warning. This is a call to proclaim that something is about to happen. I don't want you to tell my people how wonderful they are. I don't want you to tell my people about how much they're suffering. They know they're suffering. I want you to tell them what I said. And I want you to tell them that they're rebels like their ancestors. And I want you to tell them that they're not listening to what I said. I want you to tell them that the only words that I've ever spoken to any man was the prophet of Moshe, face to face. I want you to tell them that the prophets had visions and dreams, but I've never dealt with anybody else except for Moshe face to face. Every word that came out of his mouth, except for one time that he went against me. And the time that he went against me, I decided that he's not going into the land because he rebelled against what I said. I'm letting you know today that I'm the king of the universe. And when I speak and I tell you what I'm telling you, you need to listen to what I'm saying. Stop listening to people who don't even know who I am. Stop listening to Europeans who don't even have my covenant. Stop listening to people who try to tell you that there's a different Shabbat. Stop listening to these counselors that you're listening to. These people that you sit, you pay money to tell you something of what they're thinking, what they believe to be true. I've already told you what I needed to tell you, but you're not listening to me. Yhwh, this is Yahweh's testimonies. Chapter 6, 17 and 19 says, I've appointed sentinels to direct them. Listen to the sound of the shofar, but they said, we will not listen. Why? Because they're rebels. Yhwh 6 and 19 says this, hear, O earth, I'm going to bring disaster on this people. It is the consequence of their own way of thinking. For they pay no attention to my words. And as for my Torah, they reject it. When you and I decide that we're going to do what we want to do, Yah says, I'm going to bring disaster on you. Nobody wants to say this. Nobody wants to tell anybody this because they can't get your tithes and your offerings. They can't get you around hugging each other and tell you how much you love one another. They're not telling you what Yahweh says. They're telling you what they think and what they believe. Yah has a problem with his people. The book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 6 says, because I am Yahweh, and I do not change. This is the only reason why I have not destroyed you, is because I don't change. We take that name so lightly. Yhwh. Oh, it's just a few letters. It's a Yod, a Hey, a Wah, and a Hey. But you got to understand what it means. I told you that Yah told us his name means I'm compassionate, I'm merciful, I'm long-suffering, I'm full of grace and truth. I'm full of all those things, but I will not exonerate the guilty whatsoever. If you committed any crimes against me, it's over. It's over for you. You're done. If I told the wicked you're going to die if he doesn't change his ways, you're going to be put to death. Nobody wants to talk about that. You know why? Because it means that they can't live their best life. It means that you can't get the credit and the accolades that you get from your friends and family because of how well accomplished you are or how many things you've achieved. So what's the core issue with the rebels? What is it? Let's hear Yahweh's testimony. For I solemnly warned your ancestors at the time when I brought them out of the land of Mizraim. And until this day, I have frequently warned them, like I'm warning you today. Listen to my voice. What is the voice of Yahweh? The voice of Yahweh is the Torah. That's it. It's what he says. Son of man, go to the people and you tell them here is what Yahweh Elohim says. Warn them. I'm warning you today. Like I warned your ancestors. But they won't listen to my voice. They have not listened or paid attention. So why did Yah give us a brain? And why did he give us a mind? And why did he give us emotion? Why am I talking to you in the PL form today? And I PL, again, for those of you who are unfamiliar when I say PL, the PL form is one of my favorites. This form right here is a grammatical term that tells you how something is done, how action is being done. When it's in a PL, it's a very forceful way. It's a very intense way. It's very intense. I'm very intense. I'm very forceful. That's why not my blood is boiling, but because my vessels are expanded and my mind is, going in so many different ways, and I'm speaking in high volume. And why I have so much passion behind what I'm saying. Because every time the Holy One of Israel told Moshe to go tell the children of Israel something, he told him to go speak to the children of Israel in this form. When you talk to my people, you don't talk to my people with no soft tone. You don't talk to my people with no very lackadaisic type of attitude. You don't talk to my people with no very gentle spirit and tell, well, the Most High says, and, and we messed up, and, we need to do what's right. And, it's just a matter of coming back and repenting and saying we're sorry and he loves us. No. It's because of them not listening, not paying attention. Each one lived according to the stubbornness of his own evil heart. Anything outside of what Yahweh says is evil. Why does he keep mentioning this word stubbornness that we talked about that stalk of grain after it's been cut and the hardness of it? Because you're inflexible and you won't listen because it doesn't fit your agenda. So you won't do what he says. For this reason, I have brought upon them all the words of this covenant, which I ordered them to obey, but they did not obey what I said. Rebels refuse to listen, obey, and study the Torah. That's it. You have to look inside your life today, and you're going to have to stop lying, and you have to stop having a refusal. If you're not studying, and if you're not listening, and you're not obeying Yahweh, you're a rebel. You are a rebel. This is for everybody worldwide. That's why it's on YouTube Live right now. Y'all said you better shout to my people. And you better tell and sound the sound of the shofar and let them know that they are rebels. Warn the people. The only words that matter on the face of this earth is what did Yahweh say? I don't care about what nobody else is talking about. I don't care about what nobody else is feeling. I don't care how I feel. If you're not listening and you're not obeying and you're not studying, you are a rebel. What will happen to the rebels? Is this a threat? No, it's a promise. Let's hear the testimony of Yahweh. Let's hear what he has to say. He says in Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 33 through 36, as I live, he's never going to die, says Yahweh Elohim. I swear, remember our oath? Remember our oath, remember? Remember, I showed you what an oath is? Swearing it 7 times. I put my hand up. I swear with a what? He already tells us right here, with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and with poured out fury. I myself will be king over you. I swear, I'm letting you know right now. I make a promise to you. I'm going to lift my hand and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to stretch out my arm like I did in Mizraim, but I poured out judgments and plagues. But I'm going to pour out my fury. I'm pouring out fury. I've never told you this before. I never even mentioned what I'm going to do to you. I'm telling you right now, I myself will be king over you. Remember our word, Hotzithika? Here it is. I will bring. This is a whole nother chapter. This is not in Exodus. This is in Ezekiel. I will bring you out from the peoples, and I will gather you out from the countries, just like I did when you were Mizraim, and where you were scattered with a mighty hand, a stretched out arm, and poured out fury. I'm going to pour this out. I'm pouring it out. I've never done it before, but I will bring you out. Here, let's hear his testimony. This is him speaking. He's telling us what it is. Then I will, Hotzithika, I will bring you in to the desert of the peoples, and I'm going to judge you face to face. Me and you are finally going to see each other face to face. Yes, I'm going to show up like I did before, and I'm going to speak to you, and you're going to hear the very words that came out of my mouth like your ancestors did. When Yah talks about speak face to face, like he said, when I talked to Moshe, I spoke to him face to face. People say, well, he was right in front of Yah's face. Yah says, no man has ever seen me and lived. Yah's not contradicting himself. He's saying, I spoke, Yahweh, and Moshe heard me. Moshe spoke and I heard him. We had a conversation. When I came to the children of Israel, like I told you, I spoke to the children of Israel face to face. I talked to them and they heard the 10 words, not the 10 commandments. They heard the 10 words from my mouth. And because they heard those words, I spoke to them face to face. And that's exactly how I'm going to speak to you in the same way. I'm going to plead with you face to face, and I'm going to judge you like as I judged your ancestors in the desert, in the land of Mizraim. So I will judge you the same identical way. I'm going to plead with you the same identical way. So like I told you, you thought, well, I didn't hear. I ain't heard nothing. You go hear. You go hear. And you go hear it in the desert, just like they heard in the desert. I'm going to bring you out just like I brought them out. Well, what happened to the ancestors? What happened to them in the desert? That's the question. Because remember, the first question is, what happens to the rebels? Here's the testimony of Yahweh. Same chapter. Yet I also raised my hand and swore to them in the desert that I would not bring them into the land that I was giving them, a land flowing with milk and honey, the most beautiful of all lands. So the very hand that I raised to swear to bring them out is the very hand that I raised to swore to not bring them in to the land that I was giving them. Why? Because they rebelled against me. They did not listen. They did not obey. And they did not hear what I told them, which was my Torah. So if you think that I'm going to bring you out there and you and I are going to do a whole nother, let's go over the Torah, you're mistaken. I'm not bringing you out to let's go over things. Because they have rejected my rulings and did not live by my laws and profaned my Shabbats. I highlight these words to give you an idea of what the Creator wants us to do. Number one, we have better not reject what he says. We better live by. We got to do just the opposite of what they've done. This is the reason why he swore not to bring them into the land. It's because they rejected what he said. They refused to live. Not believe, live by my laws. And instead of them doing what I said on the Shabbat, they profaned it. How do they profane the Shabbats? How would you and I profane it? Yah says in Isaiah chapter number 58, verse number 13 in Isaiah, that if you would turn away from doing what you want to do, if you would turn away from your very words that you speak every 6 days of the week, and you turn from that and you say, I'm not going to talk about those things. I'm not going to entertain those things. I'm not going to do what I do on every other day. I'm going to show a distinction and a difference between every other day that I live and this particular day that I live. There has to be some contrast between every other day that you live versus this in particular day. Make it different. Go get a different type of food. Get something that you really, really enjoy. Make it expensive. Make it special. Celebrate it. Let him know that I will not profane your day. I will not speak of things that have nothing to do with you. I will not mention the name of any other business or opportunity. I won't talk about stuff that other people are talking about. I won't talk about what's going on in the NFL or the NBA. I won't talk about what's going on in the world and the news. I won't talk about nothing except for who you are and what you've done for us, and praise you and give you the time that you asked to spend with me. Stop going after your idols. Who receives this promise of this idea that you and I are chasing after? That Yah has promised, that he swore to go into this land. The promise is the land. He's not bringing us into the desert to bring us into the desert just to go to the desert. He's bringing us to the desert to plead and judge us and then bring us into our promise. Let's hear what his testimony is. Bereshith 18, 17 through 19. Yahweh said, should I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? Interesting enough, this particular chapter here, and called the Bereshith chapter 18, is a Torah portion called Yhwh. Okay, so our Torah portion this week is called Yhwh. Okay, the Torah portion that's dealing with this one here is called Yhwh, meaning that Yahweh appeared to Abraham. This is a time when Yahweh appeared to him. He appeared to Abraham. Just like he's saying that's, so what is Yah telling us? He's saying, when I decide that I'm going to appear to you, okay, and I'm going to make myself known to you, oh, you better hear me. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Why has he allowed us to know his name? He's allowed us to know his name because he's coming to get us. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. That's the only reason why he let them know his name. The New Testament did not tell you his name. Your mother and father did not tell you his name. Nobody sent a brochure in the mail to get his name. Your school teacher didn't tell you his name. Your job did not tell you who he is. He has let himself be known to us by this glorious and most powerful day because he's about to bring us out. Oh, praise be to the Holy One of Israel. That's why he says, I've appeared unto you. He's letting us know. Should I hide from Abraham what I intend to do, what I'm about to do? Should I? Inasmuch as Abraham is sure to become a great and strong nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by him. Am I going to hide from him what I intend on doing? Oh, we need to hear why Yah revealed his name. That's what it means. He appeared. Yhwh. But he said, I never appeared to your father. I didn't show myself to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov as Yahweh. I never appeared to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov as Yahweh. They don't even know me by that name. That's what he says in Exodus chapter number 6, verse number 4. I don't have it on my screen. I don't have it on my slide. I can go show it to you. I'm going to read it for you just to confirm what Yahweh says. Yahweh spoke to Moshe in verse number 2. I am Yahweh. I appeared to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov as El Shaddai. Although I did not make myself known to them by my name, Yhwh. They don't know that name. Your father didn't know my name, but you do. Why? Because I'm about to bring you out. I'm about to hotzikika. I'm about to bring you out. For I have made myself known to him so that he will give orders, commands to his children and that his household after him to keep and guard the way of Yahweh and to do what is right and just, so that Yahweh may bring about for Abraham what he had promised him. But you just read that Yah said I didn't make myself known to him, because Yah's letting us know when I make myself known to him, it was in order for him to give commandments, and it's in order for him to teach his children how to guard what I said, and for them to know what is just and right, and to know my mishpatim. But guess what? So I might bring about for Abraham what I promised him. What I promised him was to do something for you. I wasn't caused to bring him out of any land. I asked him to walk out of a land. He did. I didn't have to come and deliver him. I didn't have to come and save him. I didn't have to come and rescue him. I didn't have to come and break the chains off his neck. I didn't have to get oppressors off of him. That's why I need you to understand what my name is and who I am. If you don't know me and you think that somebody else that came to deliver you and they call themselves by a name that I've never mentioned. I never mentioned this name. I never mentioned this name. I never mentioned these people. Never, not one time. So don't you go around and say that that's me. Listen to what he says in Vayikra. This is Leviticus. This is called Leviticus. The name is Yikra. That means, and he called, and he proclaims. Listen what Yah proclaims. This is what he's proclaiming. He says, then they will confess their misdeeds and those of their ancestors, which they have committed against me in their rebellion. Don't you dare sit here and lie and say that you haven't rebelled against Yahweh. Don't you lie and say that you haven't done anything. Don't you dare sit here and act like your ancestors didn't teach you about another God. Don't you sit here and lie and act like you've been keeping the Shabbat and you've never broken it. Don't you sit here and lie and act like no other name of another God ever came across your lips. But if you don't accept and you don't confess that you and I are rebels against the Holy One of Israel, then you and I are going to be destroyed. The reason why our people are going around parading as if they haven't done anything is because they're not willing to admit and they're not willing to confess their own stuff, their misdeeds, or the misdeeds of their ancestors because they love their grandmother too much. And they love their grandfather more than they love Yah. I just read to us earlier this week that Yah told a priest, because you honor your sons more than me, I'm killing them and I'm getting rid of you. You love your mother more than Yah, then so be it. You're going to die with your mother. I'm going to wipe you off the face of this earth and you'll never, ever again exist. Well, that's a very terrible thing to say about a loving Elohim. That's what you get when you follow the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, the king of the universe, because he's not going to share his glory. He's not going to allow anybody to commit crimes and get away with it. He's not going to let the wicked do anything and get away with it. He's not going to let a child disrespect their parents and get away with it. He's not going to allow us to commit adultery and walk away as if nothing happened. He's not going to allow you and I to steal wages from our employees. He's not going to allow it. He's not going to allow you and I to mistreat the widow and the fatherless. He's not going to allow it. If you stole something, you're going to repay it. Period. You're going to pay what you owe because that's who we serve. And that's who we represent, because that's the family that Yahweh chose, a family to be noble, to be righteous, and to be holy, and to be set apart, and to be just. And if you and I can't do that, you are a rebel. At that time, I will be going against them. Proclamation. This is either the truth or it's a lie. I'm bringing them into the lands of their enemies. Are you in the lands of your enemies? Yes, you are. And if you're in the land of your enemies, that tells you that you are a rebel. But you got a way out. You and I have a way out of being a rebel. If they're uncircumcised hearts, which meaning in your mind, because remember, he said they're about their own plans. They go to live their own stubborn ways. They're going to do what they want to do. If you would change your mind and you will humble yourself, grow humble. Not only do you have to grow humble, that's not only part of it, but you're going to be paid the punishment for their misdeeds. You got to be paid. That word paid there is shalom. Looks just like the word shalom. Same letters, same everything. It means to be made whole. Yah says if you're taking something, you're going to pay it back. You're going to restore it, and everything's going to be across the board, and there is going to be a balance that is equitable. It has to be balanced. There's no way that you're going to commit a whole bunch of crimes and you're going to come back and you're going to cry to me and you never confessed and you never admit and you never humbled yourself and you never changed your mind. You think you're going to come back to me? So I send everybody in exile so you can still live the way you want to live in exile. And then when you come back, you want me to let you into the land. I'm going to show you something. Once you and I are paid, because that's why you're in the lands of your enemies, to be paid, then I will remember. I will remember the covenant with Yaakov and my covenant with Yitzchak and my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the land. The whole idea of Yah remembering anything is after you and I are paid. That's all we're waiting on. Payment. That's it. Payment is due, and you got to pay. And you're going to pay with it by what you suffer. So when you're out here asking why you're suffering, it's because you're getting paid. You wonder why your children are not doing what you told them, it's because you're getting paid. You wonder why there's no peace in your house, it's because you're getting paid. You wonder why you can't advance in this world, it's because you're getting paid. So stop your crying because you're getting paid. Accept your guilt. And stop acting like somebody owe you something. We owe Yah. And he says you're going to pay it. Here's his testimony. Yahweh said to Moshe and Aharon, look at this testimony. Aharon is about to be gathered to his people. That means he's going to die. He's going to be gathered. That's what the process is. You're going to be gathered to his people. So if you want to know what's going to happen to you when you die, you're going to be gathered to your people, because he is not to enter the land that I'm giving to the people of Israel. He's not. Here's another thing. Remember we read in Ezekiel, he says you're not going to enter because he's not to enter. He is not to enter. He is not to enter the land. Why? As you rebelled against what I said. You rebelled. You and your brother. You're not going into the land. He's not to enter the land. He is not to enter the land. Why? Because he's a rebel. He rebelled against the Holy One of Israel. So you are going to be gathered to your people. That's what's going to happen. You're going to be gathered. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the rebels? We're going to see. We're almost there. We know one thing so far is that they're not going to enter the land. That's what we do know. We will also know even if you are a rebel, Yah says you'll be gathered to your people. Interesting. Interesting thought. Interesting concept. Please listen to what he says. This is in Davarim, which is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 3, verse 25 and 26. Please. Hebrew, please means nah. Please, beg me. Nah. That's how you say nah, or please in Hebrew. Nah. Let me go. Let me go across and see the good land on the other side. That wonderful hill country in Lebanon. Please, let me go. Yahweh was angry with me on your account of you, and he didn't listen to me. Angry, didn't listen to me. This is Moshe talking. But Yahweh said to me, to Moshe, enough from you. I don't hear nothing you got to say. Be quiet. He actually tell him, don't you mention another word to me. Don't you mention it again. Yahweh didn't listen to him. And you talking about Moshe, the great servant of the Holy One of Israel. Why was Yahweh angry with his servants, Moshe and Aharon? Why? Why was he angry with his servants? Here's his testimony. Okay. We know, I'll answer the question because I don't think it's right here. We know that Yahweh was angry with Moshe and Aharon because Moshe and Aharon did not do what Yahweh said. They did just the opposite. Yahweh told them to do something and they did the opposite. Aharon, when he came out of Mizraim, he helped develop, he did a cartume. He developed an idol. And Yah was angry about what he did. And Moshe begged Yah not to kill him. So he didn't kill him. He let him live for the time that he did. Then he asked Moshe and Aharon to go to this rock and speak to the rock and say what Yahweh said. But they did not go and speak. Guess what Moshe did? He and Aharon spoke in their own words. They said what they wanted to say. They didn't say what Yahweh said. Here's another testimony of Yahweh. Here's more words that Yahweh is saying. A lot of us think that Moshe is the one saying these words. Moshe is the one that Yahweh has used to speak these words. Moshe is using Yahweh's words. He's telling what Yah says. When the time arrives that all these things have come upon you, he's talking to Israel, both the blessing and the curse, which I have presented to you. You are there among the nations in which Yahweh Eloheka, your Elohim, has driven you. Then at last you will start thinking about what has happened to you. Why am I highlighting these words? I'm highlighting these words in red because I'm trying to get you and I to see and to understand that you and I have to start thinking. And the thinking has to do with these two areas, the blessing and the curse. If you think about them, you'll start understanding. You got to meditate on these things and say, well, why are these things happening to me? He did the blessing and the curse so you can start thinking about. You can, when he talks about when these things that come upon you, meaning if you, the blessings that you had all these things, now all of a sudden you don't have anything. Curse means you don't have anything, as I've been saying. You can't be among the nations and be blessed. There's no way. You have to start thinking about what has happened. And that's what the connection is. If you start thinking about everything that's going on with you in your life and why are things the way that they are, you would begin to start understanding. He says, and you will return to Yahweh, Eloheka, your Elohim. That's how you say our Elohim, your Elohim. Ka means your, singular. Okay. So everybody's not good. It's not plural. It's not Israel. It's like individual. So in this particular chapter, Moshe is talking to the nation, but inside of the nation, he knows that there's only going to be individuals that are going to do this. There are only individuals that are going. That's why it's called Eloheka. If it was Elohenu, that means our Elohim. It's not Elohenu, it's Eloheka. Your. So what he's talking about, you here is an individual, you will return. Because you and I can't think for anyone else. You have to think for yourself. So when you start thinking, you pay attention. Okay, you start really thinking to what he has said, past tense, which will be exactly what I am ordering you. I'm ordering you today. Whatever Moshe ordered them is exactly what Yahweh said. That's what you guys need to understand. Every word that Moshe said, except for the time at the Midrash spring, was every word that Yahweh said to them. Every command was from Yahweh. It wasn't from Moshe. You and your children with all your heart and all your being at that point, Yahweh, Eloheka, your Elohim, will reverse your exile and show you mercy and return you and gather you from all the peoples which he scattered you. Yahweh Eloheka has scattered you. That's what you have to do. You have to return. That means shuv. Okay. That means that you were going this direction. And you say, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to turn my direction around. I'm going back this way. I was on another path. I'm going to switch it up. I'm also going to pay attention to what he has said, past tense, which will be exactly what Moshe was ordering them to do today. While you're in the lands of your enemies. This is what he's saying when you start thinking about these things, when you're in these nations. So that's what he's saying. You have to do this, okay? And if you will return, then Yahweh will reverse your exile. If you pay attention, Yahweh will have mercy. You understand? That's what it is. The mercy of Yahweh is him returning and gathering us. Yahweh has begun the process of returning to us by giving us his name. That's the first part of it. When Yah went to the children of Israel in Mitzrayim in our Torah portion, he appeared unto them and said, I'm Yahweh. Go tell them this is my name. I'm coming to get them. That's what I'm trying to explain. And hopefully you guys are able to see it, is that the reason why his name has been revealed is because he wants us to return to Yahweh Eloheka. He didn't ask us to return to a religion. He asked us to return to what Yahweh has said. And Yahweh has spoken to us, not in English, but he's spoken to us in Hebrew. This is why I told you need to come to your Hebrew class, so you can learn what he has said. I'm not trying to get you to speak in Hebrew for the sake of you going to the so-called land of Israel and have a conversation with an Ashkenazi or a Sephardim or a Karaite or whoever they may call themselves. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to return to do exactly what Yahweh says so you can understand the function of the language. Our language is associated with culture. That's why we're not a religion. It's because it has to do with culture, how we work. So when you don't have a culture, then you come up with religious ideas like unplug your refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't walk more than 300 feet. You can't carry this much of weight because you don't have no culture to apply to. So you make up a whole bunch of stuff. That's religion. You come up with a religion when you can't understand that the sun comes out in the morning. So you'll turn around and call the Shabbat in the evening when it's the morning. Because that's the time when people do their work, is in the morning and when the sun is out. Yah's asking us to return to him. The conclusion of this is Yahweh has a testimony. The testimony is this. However, verse number 17 through 20 of Ezekiel, I spared them from complete destruction, meaning Just like I told you, we stopped off where he said, I brought you out to the wilderness and I judged your ancestors face to face. That's exactly what I'm going to do to you. This is a continuation of that. He says, I didn't destroy all of them. I spared them. I spared some of them from complete destruction. I'm not going to completely destroy you. I did not completely finish them off in the desert. So what Yah is letting us know is that some people are going to die in the desert. But he's not going to completely finish us off. He's only going to take a lot of us. A lot of us are going to die in the desert. Okay. A lot of us are going to die in the desert like Aharon and other people, our ancestors. You're going to die in the desert. Okay. And I said to their children in the desert, don't live by the laws of your fathers, and observe, and meaning do what I said, and don't defile yourselves with their idols. But guess what? Let's continue, because it'll tell you what they did. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. And that means individual. You got to choose him for yourself. This is not a group project. Even though I have sons and daughters, they have to choose Yahweh to be Elohim for themselves. I can't choose Yah for them. They have to choose for themselves. They have to choose, and you have to choose, and we have to choose to live by Yah's laws, and we choose to observe what he says and do what he says, all his mishpatim, his rulings, and obey them, okay? And keep them, guard them, and his Shabbats, and they will be a sign. Who's they? The laws, the rulings, and my Shabbats are all signs, so that you will know that I'm Yahweh. So when you keep the Shabbat, you know that Yahweh is Yahweh Elohim. You know that he's Yhwh, because that's what he said. When you follow JC or you follow someone else and they tell you not to keep the Shabbats and they not to observe his laws, that includes a beard, that includes tzitzits, that includes everything he said. You don't want to wear your tzitzits. Don't worry. Don't worry. You refuse to do the tzitzit, you're a refusal, you're a liar, and you're dying. I want to let everybody know who don't wear a beard. You cut your beard off. Don't have me start cussing, because today's the Shabbat. That's it. You understand? You don't want to, take care of your family. That's it for you. You don't want to teach your children. That's it for you. You don't want to listen to your father or your mother. That's it for you. You don't want to honor your father and your mother. That's it for you. You don't want to keep him as your only Elohim. That's it for you. Don't worry about it. You read this chapter in chapter 20 of Ezekiel, you'll find out that's it. Don't worry, because you're not going into the land, because he's not having it. What's the goal? The goal is to Yada Yah Eloheka. That means to know Yahweh. Yada means to know. Yada means to know. And it means to know him, okay, intimately. Spend time with him. Get to know what he likes and what he doesn't like about you. Ask him, what is it that you don't like about me? Show it to me. Let me change it. It would blow my mind if my wife came to me one day and say, hey, what is it that you really like about me, what you really don't like about me? And she's willing to tell me that, so I can say, well, I don't like that. And she changed it, man, I tell you what, I'd have a whole nother honor and respect for her. She came to me and say, hey, what kind of food that you don't like me to cook? Don't do this one. Oh, I would just be in love with her even more. You understand? So, and my son came to me, Dad, what is it about me you want me to change? Well, I like this. I don't like this about you. I want you to change that. Guess what? And he did it. Guess what? I'm honoring him. It make me want to give him the world. You understand? So how did the children of, and this goes for your employment. If you have a job or your boss, you go to your boss. Hey, what is some of the things that you see in me that you wanted me to change? Yeah, you did it. Your boss is going to be like, I like that person. Well, what are some of the suggestions? Well, how can I make things better? Any relationship, whether you're a wife, a husband, not just for me, I should go, hey, what are some of the things that you like for me to change? What don't you like about what I'm doing? And be willing to listen to the other person so they can tell you what they don't really like. Because it's not always about you. It's about how you interact with other people. You understand? So how did the children of Israel and our ancestors respond? How did they respond to what Yah is about knowing him? How did they respond? That's a good question. So here's the testimony. Yahweh says this, but the children, they too rebelled against me. They did not live by my laws or observe my rulings to obey them, which if a person does, he will live, he will have life. Following what Yah says brings life to us. Following, not doing what he says brings death to us. So life is by what Yahweh says. Life is only given to live by his laws and observe his rulings and obey them, which if he does, he'll have life. And they profane my Shabbats. They did not do what I told them not to do. Then I said, I will pour out my fury on them. But he never got a chance. Remember, he says, I'm going to pour out my fury, I'm going to pour out my fury, I'm going to pour out my fury. But he never did. He said, I didn't. I wanted to. I said I was going to, but I didn't. I didn't pour my anger on them in the desert. I haven't fully done that yet because other people saw what I did for them and I didn't want them to see me do this to them. Okay. So nevertheless, I withdrew my hand. I was going to smack them to destroy them and allow concern for my own reputation, meaning my name, to keep me from letting it. So Yah's the only one here that's kept his name himself. He kept himself from tarnishing his own reputation and from letting it, his name, Yhwh, to be profaned in the sight, in the eyes of the nations of the peoples who had seen with their eyes that I brought them out. Okay. But he's going to do something different now. I also raised my hand and swore to them in the desert that I would scatter them among the nations and disperse them throughout all the countries. So instead of destroying them, I did this. I said, I swear I'm going to do this to you now, because they hadn't obeyed, but they rejected my laws and profaned my Shabbats, and their eyes had turned toward their father's idols, meaning everything their fathers taught them, JC, Santa Claus, Easter egg, the Easter bunny, baby New Year, all them. That's what they did too. So they did the same thing. Yah says this, I will make you pass under the crook and bring you into the obligations of the covenant. Okay, this is what Yah's telling Israel as he brings them out. I will rid you of the rebels who are revolting against me. Here, this word revolt is in a participle, meaning it's an ing. That means they are constantly still not revolt, but revolting. They're still revolting, even while they're with the children of Israel. Even while they're in the lands of their enemies, he says, I'm going to rid you of the rebels who are in revolt against me, meaning they're currently in revolt against me because they're not doing what he says. I will bring them out from the land where they are living, but they will not enter the land of Israel because they're revolting against him. Presently. That's present tense. That's not past tense, that's present. So this is why he's saying that they're revolting against him, even today. So that's why I said it's not a threat, it's a promise, because he's lifting his hand to swear that I'm going to get rid of these people. And if you and I are revolting against him and you're going against anything, I will say it again, anything, the smallest thing, the smallest detail. Yah killed Aaron's sons for lighting fire that he told them not to light. They had fire. They were doing what he said, lighting a fire, but they didn't do it the fire that he wanted. He killed them. Yah's concerned with the details of what he says. That's why he's always using the word pay attention and listen carefully. Moshe said, didn't I tell you? Didn't I warn you to listen, to do what he says? I told you, but you didn't listen. Nobody's listening. No one's paying attention. They think that Yah is a joke. Okay. That's what they think. They think he's a joke. They think he's not going to do anything. They think he's a pushover. Okay. Then he uses this question. This is the statement he says. Then you will know. Then you will know. Then. When are you going to know that I'm Yahweh? You're going to know when I get rid of the rebels. You're going to know when I bring you out to the wilderness. You're going to know when I will make you come under the obligations of the covenant. You will know when I bring you from the scattered lands. You will know when I reverse your exile. You will know. You will yada. You're going to yada. You're going to yada. You're going to yada. Okay, yada, yada, yada. You're going to know. When? When are they going to know? Here you go. You're going to know I'm Yahweh when I hotzifika, when I bring you out from the land of Mizraim. You're going to know that I'm Yahweh when I will deliver you from Mizraim's bondage. You will know I am Yahweh when I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and great judgments. You will know that I'm Yahweh when I take you for myself for you to be my people. You will know that I will exist to you as your Elohim. And you will know when I bring you into the land that I swore to your ancestors, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. And you will know when I give it to you as an inheritance. This is what Yah says, I will. Therefore say to the people of Israel, I am Yahweh. I will free you from the forced labor of the Egyptians. Okay? I will rescue you from their oppression. And I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and great judgments. I will take you as my people. I will be your Elohim. Then you will know that I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who freed you from forced labor of the Egyptians. I will bring you into the land which I swore to give to your Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. I will give it to you as your inheritance. I am Yahweh. You see? That's how it is. Well, that's what he told them. That's what he said to the children of Israel when they were in Egypt. What is he going to say to us? What could he say to us? Well, since he's been telling us everything that he's been saying to the exiles in the book of Ezekiel, then we surely know that Yah is speaking to Israel again. Let's hear some other I wills. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Verse 19. I scattered them among the nations and dispersed them throughout the countries. I judged them in keeping with their manner of life and actions. When they came to the nations they profaned my holy name, which is Yahweh, so that the people said to them, these are Yahweh's people who have been exiled from his land. But I'm concerned about my holy name, which the house of Israel is profaning among the nations where they've gone. Therefore, tell the house of Israel that Yahweh Elohim says this, I'm not going to do this for your sake, house of Israel, but for the sake of my holy name, which you have been profaning among the nations where you went. Let it begin. I will set apart my great name to be regarded as holy, since it's been profaned in the nations. You have profaned it. The nations will know that I am Yahweh, says Yahweh Elohim, when before their eyes I'm set apart through you to be regarded as holy. I will take you from among the nations, gather you from all the countries, and return you to your own soil. Then I will sprinkle you with clean water on you, and you will be clean. I will cleanse you from all your uncleanness and from all your idols. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit inside of you. I will take the stony heart out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. I will put my spirit inside of you and cause you to live by my laws, respect my rulings, and obey them. You will live in the land that I gave to your ancestors. You will be my people, and I will be your Elohim. I will save you from all your uncleanliness. I will summon this grain and increase it, and not send famine against you. I will multiply the yield of the fruit of the trees and increase the productions in the fields, so that you would never again suffer the reproach of famine among the nations. Then you will remember your evil ways and your actions, that they were not good. As you look at yourselves, you will loathe yourselves for your guilt and disgusting practices. Understand, says Yahweh Elohim, that I am not doing this for your sake. Instead, be ashamed and dismayed for your ways, house of Israel. Yahweh Elohim says, when that day comes for me to cleanse you from all your guilt, I will cause the cities to be inhabited and the ruins to be rebuilt. The land was desolate, will be tilled, whereas formerly lay desolate for all passing by to see. Then they will say, the land that used to be desolate has become like the Garden of Eden. The cities formerly ruined, abandoned, and wasted have now been fortified and inhabited. then the nations around you will know, then the nations around you that remain will know that I, Yahweh, have rebuilt the ruins and replanted what was abandoned. I, Yahweh, have spoken, and I will do it. I will do it. In addition, says Yahweh Elohim, in addition, I will let the house of Israel pray to me to do this for them, to increase their numbers like sheep, like flocks of sheep, for sacrifices like flocks of sheep of Yerushalayim at the designated time. In this degree will the ruined cities be filled with the flocks of people. Then they will know that I am Yahweh. It's only then that they will yada Yahweh, that Anoki Yahweh. Hallelujah. Woo! Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. In closing, a few moments. Our King, the one who's to be raised up among us, says some I wills that you and I need to do. Psalms 119 says, how happy are those whose way of life is blameless, who live by the Torah of Yahweh. How happy are those who observe his instructions, who seek him wholeheartedly. They do nothing wrong, but live by his ways. You lay down your precepts for us to observe with care. May my ways be steady in observing your laws. Then I will not be put to shame, since I will have fixed my sight on all your mitzvot, is your commandments. I thank you with a sincere heart as I learn your righteous rulings. I will observe your laws. Don't completely abandon me. How can a young man keep his way pure? You young men, listen. By guarding it according to your word. I seek, meaning I will seek you with all my heart. Don't let me stray from your commandments. I treasure your word with my heart so that I won't sin against you. Blessed are you, Yahweh. Teach me your laws. I proclaim with my mouth all the rulings you have spoken. I rejoice in the way of your instruction more than any kind of wealth. I will meditate on your precepts and keep my eyes on your ways. I will find my delight in your regulations. I will not forget your word. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Hallelujah. 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 Bless his name. Oh, it's intense, isn't it? He's on his way. Do you understand me? He's on his way. And you and I have been what you would call awakened to the fact that he's talking to us and he's letting us know that I'm on my way. Let them know. Let them know that I'm on my way. That's what appearing means. He's appeared. He's letting us know I'm on my way. I'm telling you what it is. You guys are my children. I already told you. And the only time I reveal myself is to let you know. So listen. Moshe said to Elohim, look. What's the name of our Torah portion? What is the name of our Torah portion? When he appeared. Yahweh said this. Look at what he says. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Praise the Holy One. Yes. Oh, well, when you say Eloheka, he's your Elohim. Yes, he is Elohim, but you put that Eloheka, that ka on the end is you. He's your Elohim, individual, personalized. It is the same as Elohim, yes, but it's personalized. Now he's your Elohim. Praise the Holy One. Look what Moshe said. He said, look, when I appear before the people of Israel and say to them, the Elohim of your ancestors has sent me to you. And they asked me, what is his name? What am I to tell them? And Elohim said to Moshe, that meaning I will. Not I am, I will. This is I will right here. I will be what I will be. I will be what I will be. I will be a deliverer. I will be a rescuer. I will be a hope. I will be mercy, compassion. I will be. You understand? So Yah has sent Moshe to us. That's why you have the knowledge of him. Here's what you're to say to the sons of Israel. I will be has sent me to you. Elohim further said to Moshe, say this to the sons of Israel. Yhwh, the Elohim of your fathers, Abraham, Elohim of Yitzchak, the Elohim of Yaakov has sent me to you. This is my name forever. This is how I am to be remembered generation after generation. Go and you gather the leaders of Israel and you say to them, Yahweh, the Elohim of our fathers, Elohim of Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov has appeared to me and said to me, I have been paying close attention to you and I have seen what is going down. It was being done to you in Egypt. I have said, yes, that I have led you up out of the misery of Mizraim to the land of Mizraim, to the land of Ka'ani, Kiti, Imri, Parisi, Kiwi, Yhwh, to a land of flowing with milk and honey. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's the reason why he has revealed his name to us through the prophet Moshe. I'm not like the rest of these pastors and these rabbis and the rest of these people to make you think that they're Moshe. Yah has told us through Moshe what he's going to do. You understand? That's why he wrote it in Ezekiel, because Ezekiel was a prophet to those who were in exile. You and I are in exile. And he's telling you and I've revealed myself to you, and I'm giving you the heads up that I am coming, but I won't, before I come, I need to let you know that if you know that I'm going to judge you, because that whole chapter is about being judged. If I'm going to judge you like I'm going to, I need to let you know what were the crimes and the offenses of your ancestors so you can make up your mind to decide if you're going to rebel against me too. Because after this in particular scattering, folks, there is no more scattering. The only thing that's left is for you to be destroyed in the wilderness, in the desert. I'm going to, the fury that I didn't get a chance to pour on them while they're in Egypt is what I'm going to pour out in the desert. The fury that I didn't get to pour on them in the wilderness when I brought them out and was going to wipe everybody out, I didn't do it. So I scattered them to all the nations. The fury that I never got a chance for, the blasphemy and the profanation of my name, I haven't been able to get that fury off yet. I've been saving it. And I've saved it to this last moment so all the world can see who I am and who you are and what happens to those who rebel. Yeah. Okay. So I showed you, I appear to you. I'm only appearing to you to let you know who I am and what I'm going to do for you. I don't want you to believe anything that I'm saying. I want you to yada. Now, one verse that we ever read today said that believe what I said. He said, do what I said. Listen and obey what I said. Guard what I said. That's what he said. Tell them that this is here is what Yahweh Elohim says. Okay. Oh, you guys, I'm on one today, and I praise the Holy One of Israel for it. I want to take just 5 more minutes of your time, if you don't mind. And I want to share with you, all right, here you go. Let me share this with you right quick. For those of you who are coming to the class today in the Hebrew, understand, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start this thing called Lashon HaKodesh. Okay, and in my Lashon HaKodesh series, it's called Hebraic Living Roots, because they're living, the roots are living. And in this presentation here, the Shorashim, I'm going to give you all the different meanings of all the different words. So we're not going to go over grammar, right? Because grammar sometimes is very challenging. What we're going to do is we're going to go over what these roots are of all the words. You know, I'm going to show you what the roots are. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to add some words to your vocabulary, and we're going to go over it because you're going to learn what these things mean. Okay. So I wanted to let you know today I'm going to do something a little bit different. So if you want to come to the Hebrew class, this is a really good class. It's really easy. It's really fun. It's really exciting. And it's not going to be, you know, mundane with, you know, verb tenses and all that kind of stuff, because that can really get you. And that kind of, you know, it takes the life out of stuff. So what I want to do is go over the book of Genesis, the first 300 and something plus words in there. And we're going to begin this coming up today. So we're going to do this. A lot of you have been in my class before, so you may have seen some of these videos or some of these things, but those of you who have not been, this is a great way for you to get the vocabulary words that you need in order for you to understand how to, you know, read and understand the Hebrew language. Okay. And it's pretty cool. So I want to share that with you. I want you to know that, you know, there's over 300. We're not going to go over 300 today. We might be able to go over about five or 10, who knows, you know, because it takes a little bit of time. I'm going to explain what these words mean to you and how they work in your life and how they could take root in you. So it's really applicable to your life. So it's not like learn a Hebrew so you can have a separate language. No, this is a language that is written in, you know, the Torah. So everything that you're reading is not something that's not in the Torah. Everything you're reading and learning about is going to be with pictures. So the pictures are going to set things in your mind. Me just saying words to you is just nothing. There's nothing. Words. The words are words. But in culture, if you have a picture, an idea, and a concept that could be attached to that picture, then something would become living to you. That's why Yah says don't make any images of anything, because the moment that an image is there, as soon as you put the image, then you got to put a story. Okay. Well, with Yahweh's words have life. So I want to show you why those words are named that and what life is in them. So they can start they're called roots because they're supposed to be planted inside of you, inside of your mind. That's your garden. That's your land. Okay. That's your soil. So before we go back to our physical soil, Yah's taking us into our mental soil up here in our brains, and he's going to put these roots down in our brains, and we're going to start watering and we're going to start planting. So I want to start planting this inside of our minds. That's what I want to start planting. Okay. So if you allow me, I want to plant that inside of your brains. If you want your garden to be full, and then all of a sudden you'll start seeing things just start blossoming and things just start growing. So the class today is at 4:00. So I'm going to get offline with you guys right now, so you can have more time to eat your lunch or whatever you're going to do, you know, in the Shabbat, and spend time with your family, take a nap, relax, whatever you're going to do. Well, we praise the Holy One of Israel today. I want anyone who has any contributions or anything that you'd like to add to the lesson, or any questions that you may have, I'm here to answer those questions right now. Okay, no questions, no answers. Anybody get anything out of the study? Anybody got anything to say or want to add something? Or I'm not looking for you to add to it like you want to continue to teach. What I am saying is, how did this inspire you to think about something differently? Or let me know that it took some kind of root. What would sit out to you? How did it make you feel, or how does it make you feel? Maybe I should say that.
I'll say this, Akika, is that it made me more cognizant that I need to be more aware of what I'm doing,
Yeah.
because there's so many things that we take for granted in our everyday life living in this particular system that we don't realize it can become an idol. And
Yeah.
it's something that we maybe shouldn't be dealing with. And then the other thing that really kind of stuck out to me was when you were talking about, I think the word you used was cartoon
Uh-huh.
for an idol.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, so that's something that's animated, something that can be manipulated, something that men can do whatever they want with and
Yes.
make it be whatever they want.
Yes.
And so that was really kind of more outstanding to me too. It's like, wow, that's kind of huge for me. And I
Yes.
kind of see how they did that with this being, this thing, this entity that they call JUS US,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, and he's this thing that they created, this being can be exactly that.
Yes. That was the whole reason even mentioning. Thank you for that contribution, because if you have an image that you can create, all you got to do is put a story with it, and you can animate,
Mm-hmm.
and you can make
Mm-hmm.
it into whatever you want it to be. So if you want him to be the creator, he could be the creator. If you want him to be loving and forgiving, it's a character. So you could create another character, and then you say, well, I want to be like that character. And then that's every person's desire, is to be, um, who, I mean, when I was a Christian, my goal is to have a different type of character. I felt guilty about my life, but I wanted to be different. And so there's nothing wrong with that. The fact is that the creator, character that they gave me, the one that I patterned my life from, was, he didn't teach me the laws. He didn't teach me what would make a man righteous. All he said was that he came to do it. But that was thousands of years ago. And so every time I would falter and, fall back into my, my own little, you know, habits and sins and things of that nature, I never saw any real change. I never had a made up mind. And I never thought, and I thought, well, that's who I am. I'm depraved. I'm a person who doesn't have the ability to do something. And so it kind of just disarmed me from being able to make decisions. And I was always looking for something to happen, which, you're waiting on some kind of miracle, or being hopeful, or believing in something. And it's weird, because you're believing in something that doesn't even exist. And they created something that doesn't exist. But they knew that a man does exist. They understand that. So it's something we can relate to, but it's a man that no one's ever ran into. So it made him very appealing, to be like him. So, but then I realized that there was no culture. There's no culture associated with it. There was no boundaries, no limit, except for this belief system. And it's like, it's magic. You believe. If you believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. And we don't see that in Yahweh's ways. We see that Yah is saying, this is what I said, and you're not going to see an image. Moshe even warns the children of Israel, you haven't seen an image. Don't ever make an image, because the moment you make an image, then you desecrate and profane the name of the Holy One of Israel. So, because he doesn't want us to see an image. He doesn't want us to see an image, because if there was an image, that means that he could be made. and that he could be animated, he could be turned and manipulated to whatever, as you, great word choice that you use, to be manipulated, to be animated, and to be formed into something that's not him, and which can misrepresent his character and and who he is. Because that's what this whole Torah portion too is about the character. That's why it's in the book of Shemot, and Shemot means the names, and your name is your character. So we see these different characters. Paro, we see Moshe, he's a character. What's his character like? What's Aharon's character? What's the character of the people? What's what they would call the caricature of the individuals that's involved? And so we see these things. So I'm glad that it was able to stand out to you. I'm happy that you got that from there. And those of you, I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to twist your arm. I just want you to be able to open up, because a lot of times we don't get a chance to ask any questions, because a lot of teachers don't